Hello there, everyone, and welcome to GamePoints episode 203. Your weekly little get together. We talk about recent gaming news. I'm your host, as always, Stephen Brown, and joining me today is
I'm David.
David. We are back after the long 2-week holiday, and it felt long as hell because I kept getting sick for most of it.
Oof.
I have been in various stages of sick for the past year, it feels like, at this point, at least since before Thanksgiving. But I am not here to bore you all with how I'm feeling. We are here to talk about things that have happened over this past few weeks, which is, well, not much, but we do have some stuff we want to go over. First of all, we have a major shakeup at Respawn. We're going to discuss how The Witcher 3 is actually doing better after the Netflix show, which is unusual because usually TV adaptations land with a wet fart. And we have the battle between Hong Kong and China moving to yet another digital front. But first, I want everyone here to know that this is an audience interactive podcast, so if you're watching here at Twitch TV/GamePoints every Monday at 8 p.m., or later over on YouTube, assuming the audio to this one doesn't kill like the other ones have, and just go straight to hell, we'll find out later, you can join the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, or whatever you might be thinking about. Just try to keep it germane to the conversation, on topic, etc. Otherwise, kick back, enjoy the show here, and, well, there you go. Just enjoy the show here. That's the third thing I was going to say, and I forgot. It's been a while since I've done this intro.
Hey, dude.
David.
Takes a minute. You got to get back on that horse.
Yeah, I got to kick the cobwebs off, get the rust off, and all that good stuff. What have you been playing over the past couple weeks during the long vacation? It's a good time to catch up on our libraries.
Sure. You could pretend that I was catching up on libraries and not just playing Final Fantasy VIII on my Switch because I was on holiday.
Oh, you're playing Final Fantasy on the Switch? How is it? I got my hands on it for like 30 minutes or so. And it seemed fine.
Fast forward is the greatest thing that's ever happened to any RPG in the history of adult life.
Yes, now, I am willing to agree with that.
Much younger me would argue that vehemently and say that I'm a crazy person, but I'm sorry, I got a full-time job and I don't have time to sit through countless grinding of battles and all that other. I can just run at 3x speed, get to the next conversation, because RPGs at this point aren't a challenge to me. They always were just a time sink. And I mean, there's certain things that, like, there's epic bosses and shit that you actually have to plan for, and they can be pretty difficult. So I'm not saying that RPGs are inherently just easy, but for the most part, I've always treated them as like a mindless, like, story game. That's just, what a lot of people treat visual novels as now is what I treated 100 plus RPGs at in the 90s.
So whenever I would play through things, that's why I was always a big fan of the New Game Plus. Because whenever I would play through almost any game, even right now, I would always play it like either on normal or sometimes hard if I'm feeling particularly masochistic, or if it's a genre I'm really good at, like, say, Ace Combat. Or I wouldn't use anything that's like a time skip or anything like that. But once I've beaten it that once,
you do whatever you want.
I just want to see the story again.
Yeah, and I've beaten Final Fantasy VIII. It's just been 1999 is 20 years ago. So yeah. it's a good time just to hang out, and it's been fun.
David,
I'm remembering all the excitingness of the junction system. Remember how many people love that?
Hated the junction system. God, did I hate that damn thing.
Exactly how great Triple Triad is.
Now, I like Triple Triad.
By far the superior card game. Tetramaster can eat a butt.
Yeah, I agree. That junction system was fucked up, though, because it kept me from ever using magic. Ever.
Yeah, it just depends.
David, it's funny that you've been playing Final Fantasy VIII, because oddly enough, I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV.
That's just weird.
I know, it is very odd. They had the base game with all the expansions on stuff for super cheap, so I figured I'll give it a shot. And because I've been wanting to play it since they rebooted it a few years back. Turns out I kind of like it.
That's great for you. I'm glad you're having fun.
I am not saying that you're going to be into it at all.
Yeah, I know I'm not. It's fine.
And nor do you have to. At this point,
just abandon most MMOs except for looter shooter based MMOs.
Well, we got a bunch of them coming out for sure, soon enough. Anyways, just want to kind of catch up on what we've been taking a look at. Is there anything else you want to be playing over the break that you want to catch up the speed on? Anything that you've been cracking in the old library, finding out what's out there?
Not really. Mostly just backlog stuff. Like I played a bunch of Switch games because I was on
You're traveling.
Vacation. Yeah. So I played a bunch of Baba Is You. I played a bunch of Final Fantasy VIII. I played a bunch of I don't even know.
I did also try Baba Is You real quick, by the way, in your recommendation.
Yeah? How are you thinking
I played it for about an hour, went, I know exactly what this game is, I don't need to play it anymore.
Really?
Uh-huh. I will probably bust into it once a month for like 30 minutes, try a puzzle or two, and then stop. But I see why people are saying it's a fun game, because it does kind of melt your brain a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's
And
a
it keeps kind of twisting the format on its head because
yeah.
you'll kind of get the hang of it, and then it will, without changing the fundamental gameplay, will completely break the mechanics you've learned by introducing new concepts. And it's pretty rad.
Yeah, I did notice it was doing that. So congratulations on that. That is a solid puzzle game. I am just not actually that into puzzle games.
That's fair. You don't have
Like
to be.
I like them, but I'm not going to sit down and spend a lot of time with them unless there's some big story driving them. Like Talos Principle or Portal are examples of
Oberdin.
ones that I love. Oberdin, those I love, but I'm doing the puzzle to get to the narrative.
Yeah, see, when I have nothing else, I'm playing Sudoku on my phone, so it is what it is.
Fair enough. Anyways, let us know what you guys have been playing over the weekend, trying to clear out your backlogs before we have the mass rush of titles coming out in about 3 or so weeks. David,
Yes.
I know it's been about 2 weeks since we've done the news, but there still really is not all that much out there right now. But we do have some big stories.
That's
Let's
true.
go ahead and start with the first one on the docket, and it's actually a big one. It is pretty big. This is via the LA Times. I think that might be the first time we have ever used them as a source on this show.
True
And the
that.
headline is Zampella's a. It's a long headline talking about Vince Zampella of Respawn, but the point you need to know is that Zampella is going to be leading DICE now. He is taking over at DICE.
Now, saying he's taking over at DICE is
Yep,
a bit misleading,
it is.
considering that DICE is founded in Stockholm and is not primarily based in LA, but he is taking over the LA specific office
Correct.
of DICE.
From the article itself, Vince Zampella in 2020 will also lead the LA-based offices of another Electronic Arts-owned studio, DICE. DICE was founded in Stockholm in the early 1990s and home to such games as Battlefield, Mirror's Edge, and Star Wars Battlefront, but Electronic Arts characterizes its LA-based output as long dedicated to support for DICE's core products. Under Zampella, there are plans to expand and launch an original, as yet unrevealed game. The company will also remain separate from Respawn, and Zampella says will likely drop the DICE name. So for the most part, they're taking what was a support studio and making it its own thing.
Yes, and more importantly, they're making it its own thing, being head by Zampella, who Vince
And
Zampella, if you've no idea who he is responsible for some of the best damn shooting games that have come out in the last 20-ish years. The guy worked on.
him and West, I can't remember the guy's first name, but they essentially were the brains behind Modern Warfare.
Yes, but going back even further, this is the guy that was working on Medal of Honor back in the day. This is the
Back when
guy
Medal of
that's
Honor was good.
yeah, this is the guy that led the team that worked on Titanfall, on Apex Legends, on these. This guy's got street cred.
I'm actually surprised it has taken him this long to be promoted up at EA.
Well, he was kind of doing his own thing. I think he wanted the isolationism of being we're Respawn and we're allowed to do what we want. And I don't think it was necessarily due to EA's lack of trying. Maybe it was, I don't know. But I feel like he was kind of in a mode where he wanted to just give time to his own projects. And now he's ready to take on more.
Let me go through the rest of the highlights of this article real quick. It's not many, but I want to kind of dive down that rabbit hole just a touch. Back for the article. We'll probably rebrand, Zampella says. Want to give it a new image. We want people to say, this is a destination you can go and make new content. I think they've kind of gotten the branding that they're support the studio of DICE Stockholm. I think rebranding is important for showing people, hey, come work here. We're going to do some amazing things. AKA, just they're trying to break away from DICE proper in Stockholm, and they should.
Well, it just makes sense because there's a lot of studios that are considered like sub studios to a major one. And I can always go back to the classic issue with the guys that just put out Anthem.
Yep.
And how there's the main
BioWare
team.
Edmonton versus BioWare Austin.
Yep, and there's the main team up in Canada, and they're the ones in charge, and the other team is literally just considered to be a support team, even though they have worked on their own projects and put out their own content. That's just the way they're viewed.
And I bet that
Separating the
might be
name.
some of what's going on here. That's part of the rabbit hole I want to get down to later. The rest of the article stresses that while this will, let me start over. The rest of the article talks about the studio will be separate from DICE Stockholm and separate from Respawn. But what does this mean for Zampella's role at Respawn? Well, he is kind of pulling back away from that a little bit. He is, for the most part, creating a new studio, but he will still serve as a quote-unquote head coach there.
Okay, so is it Jason? Is he the one taking over? That's the other guy
I
that
don't
left
know
with
if
him.
there's any one specific head taken over. I know the guy that did Fallen Order still has a very high the Stieg
Mm-hmm.
Grossmessen or something like that. It's something Scandinavian. I don't remember his name, unfortunately, but it's Steg or Stieg. It sounds like Respawn's being left in good hands, however.
Yeah.
Because you have to figure that Zampella has been slowly pulling away from this role over the past year or so, because it's not like this choice gets made 2 days ago and he's like, oh, hey, guess what? This is
Yeah.
something that would have been building up over time.
Everyone knows. Everyone that needs to know about it know about it.
Yeah, which means that things like the launch of Fallen Order, like Apex Legends Season Pass stuff, maybe not the launch of Apex Legend itself, but the feature content for that is probably already being handled by the people that are going to be the head of Respawn at this point.
Yeah, makes sense.
So, David,
Yes.
Respawn is an amazingly talented studio.
That's true. I think we can safely say that Respawn is a really damn good video game studio.
They have an amazing pedigree that has, for the most part, stayed together since the Medal of Honor days. Now, some people have left. It's not the exact same team, but they bring in good talent.
A bunch of these guys were former Infinity Ward devs, which were former 215 devs or whatever they were.
Yeah, I don't quite remember.
And they've kept a pretty good core team, but they also just kind of attract talent, especially when there was the great Activision exodus of 2000 and whatever.
And Respawn, for the most part, has been able to just openly flout all of EA's forced directions and mandatory use of Frostbite. They just do their own thing, and they can get away with it.
Yep. Because EA did a smart thing in that they bought Respawn in 2017 and actually allowed them to keep doing their own thing. They didn't do what they did to the Mass Effect team and say, by the way, all of your projects are now forced to use Frostbite, which is a engine made by another one of our studios that's for first-person shooters, and you get to figure it out. And guess what? It's not going to work most of the time. So every single problem that we've had with like all of the BioWare games post EA are directly related to Frostbite.
Among other issues, but Frostbite is definitely a key component to it. So let me ask this. With the success of Respawn not being shoehorned into doing what all the other EA studios have been forced to do, and the massive failures of both Anthem and Mass Effect Andromeda, after Zampella's promotion, for lack of a better word, they're more or less promoting them, do you think that this is the beginning of a sea change for the culture at EA to move away from everything must be uniform to studio is going to do what they need to do to make the best possible product?
I think that this LA studio will be a good place to work. I'll say it that way.
Okay.
I think that they're actually giving him more than just a little leeway on this. I feel like, okay, you've proven yourself with the Respawn team. You know what you're doing. Come take over this other team that seemed as a sub. Rebranding is possible. I'm sure that he brought a lot of this up and that he's having conversations with the man upstairs or the woman upstairs or whoever's in charge of a lot of this crazy stuff, saying we need some independence. We need I mean, obviously, oversight's a thing. They're probably getting their paychecks from EA.
And it's important to have that. Like, I know a lot of people say, let creators make their own, but we see what happens when...
And if you just let them stew, then they'll just work on a project for 20 years and they'll keep getting crowdfunded.
You get Tim Schafer and you get Peter Molyneux, and you need a whip cracking there a little bit sometimes.
I was trying to make Star Citizen jokes. But yeah, you're right on target.
You know, Star Citizen, I've completely forgot that game exists until you bring it up. But
I have to bring it up. I'm contractually obligated until it comes out.
I think Zampella is in a position where he can essentially swing his dick around and they ain't going to say shit, because he delivered both Apex Legends and Star Wars Fallen Order in the same year.
Yep.
And look at everything else EA has been going through.
One of them is like the only positively viewed Star Wars property currently available
in like the past 5 years.
And the other one is one of the most successful free-to-play games that's out.
Yeah.
Not the most.
It's not Fortnite, and it never will be.
And they've already said multiple times that we have no intention of trying to actually compete with Fortnite for that crown.
Nor should they be.
We just like prototyping. And part of the interview that I thought was super fascinating is he mentioned that they have prototyped like almost 10 times the amount of content that's been added to Apex Legends because they just decided it wasn't fun. So like every time you get a new hero, they've probably worked out 4, 5, 6 other heroes. And they're like, no, these guys don't work. Because they just... And part of the article, they also mentioned that the way that Respawn kind of works is they go from zero to prototype outrageously fast compared to other studios. So they get a bare bones version of their game going before they figure out art, before they figure out what it's going to look like, before they initially just hone gameplay,
I
and
was going to
that
say,
is
it
how they
sounds like
prototype.
gameplay is their focus as opposed to let's make it as big and flashy and the spectacle as possible.
As opposed to anything else. And that could do wonders for so many EA properties because EA again owns a lot of shit. They've bought and killed a lot of studios, but they still own the rights to a lot of cool things. And if they give teams like that have this amazing ability to prototype or creators that have the ability to maybe teach this, like Zampella, that maybe we're going to get some really cool, even if it's like an indie access EA game. I'm down to see what comes out of this.
The thing is, David, I know it's fun to like shit on EA because and they have rightfully earned a lot of that scorn.
Yeah, dude, we are constantly mad at like the major three, which is EA, Activision, Ubisoft,
Right.
for various reasons. Like they did this, they did that, they did that. So we're gonna be mad at them, kind of alternating as they
I would
release.
say Bethesda's taking Ubisoft's place on that.
Yes,
That
Ubisoft
hierarchy.
has come back quite a bit.
However, I do want EA to succeed. I don't want to see them crash and burn because a healthy EA, and I do mean a healthy, not necessarily profitable EA, a
Yes.
healthy EA where they are not only just profitable but producing quality work and not burning out their staff is good for the entire industry. And
I
remember,
always think back of that EA power to the players like press release thing from the 90s where we're focused on making experiences. And you remember that whole thing
yep,
that they made years and years ago? Like that's always what I go back to.
and EA has given us some amazing shit and not just bought it and put an EA sticker on there. EA created from the ground up Bad Company 2. They created Dead Space. They have done good stuff in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And when EA is healthy, and when you have people like, I hope, Vince Zampella in positions of power, he's not like an executive there by any chance, but he definitely has enough room to kind of push his way his vision that he sees forward. And if the EA is smart enough to listen to him, I think we might see some good stuff from the studio. That said, remember, it is EA. And until they prove themselves, just keep that in mind, even if it is Vince Zampella making it. Do you have any final thoughts on this topic here, David, before we move on to the next one?
I wonder what entry level salaries are. I like Vince Zampella.
Yeah.
He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah, he does.
LA's not too far away. That's pretty far away. I don't want to move to LA.
Let us know what you guys think about Vince Zampella kicking off his own studio, taking over essentially DICE LA and potentially rebranding it into something that he gets to play around with in the comments below. David, you want to go ahead and lead us off on this next topic here?
Let's make a bridge into a little bit more of a media adjacent to video games, but something that is still kind of based. And this story is from Twinfinite, and The Witcher 3 has just recorded, and this is as of this writing, which was sometime last week, its highest peak concurrent player count ever on Steam, which is actually pretty amazing because that game came out 4.5 years ago.
I keep forgetting The Witcher's that old, by the way. It still feels like that game is less than a year old, and I think that might be because of the Switch port.
Yeah, the Switcher is still pretty new. The original game still looks and plays amazing, and is so like deep and has so much shit to do that it's just a good game.
My first hour and my first playthrough, not counting expansions, but making sure I did everything, still took me 169 hours. I still remember that clock today because goddamn, there was so much there.
Yeah. Anyway, in a quote from the article, since the debut of Netflix's hotly anticipated The Witcher adaptation, The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt's player numbers on Steam have been skyrocketing. Now, over 4 years after its 2015 release, CD Projekt's Red acclaimed RPG is recording its highest ever peak concurrent count at 94,451 at the time of the writing. I know for a fact that it's dipped over 100,000 several times since the release of this article. It's kind of insane that a game could do this well so long after release, but I'm not gonna lie, I've been watching that Netflix Witcher show, and it makes me want to go back and play it because that universe is so interesting.
And
also, I swear, dude, I'm pretty sure that Henry Cavill does not speak a single line in that first episode, and all of it is just the voice actor from the actual game.
He sounds a lot like him, doesn't he?
Dude, when he's just like, Roach, I was like, no, dude, that's not Henry Cavill. I'm sorry. I've seen you in other things before. There's just no way.
He has that excuse me, he has that role down pretty pat.
Yeah, and we know that he was a fan, and a lot of people were excited for the way that show was going to go. And I think it's doing well enough, and people are really, really enjoying it. So much so that Witcher 3, I'm pretty sure, sold a ton of copies, was one of the most bought games during the Steam Winter Sale. And a lot of that has to do with this TV show, which is cool.
Speaking of Henry Cavill, before I bring up the next point I wanted to bring up, did you see the bit of console shade he threw recently?
No.
So there was an interview about the show, and someone asked, "So what's your favorite console, Xbox or PlayStation?" He just kind of goes, "PC." He just kind of like laughs. Yeah, no, he is really good in that role. So go him. I'm glad to see him there.
I didn't know Soups was in the PC Master Race. That's funny.
Yeah, no, apparently he is big on it. So that's kind of interesting.
But we knew he was a fan of the games when he was announced.
How do you feel about the Netflix TV show?
I like it.
Have you finished it?
No.
Okay, we're not going to spoil anything on it. What do you think about that weird timeline thing they do?
It was frustrating till I figured it out. I was just confused for a moment, and then I was like, oh, okay, I get it.
I think if it wasn't for that, this would be even better received than it is.
Yeah, the first 2 episodes throw you because it doesn't make any sense until you get to the 3rd episode, and there's like characters that are alive that are clearly not alive based on things you've seen, and you're like, oh, this is a flat. Oh, so that means everything I've seen for this character up till now is oh, okay. And then another character makes a casual line of, it's been 3 decades since blank, and you're like, oh shit, okay, so lots of time has passed for you.
My problem with that is that they give no hint that that's happening until about, at minimum, episode 3.
Yeah.
And I think that is to the series' disservice.
It's never clearly spoken. But I understand why they can't just show it chronologically, because you'd have no real events happening for the first 2 episodes. It would just be all the buildup. And
yes,
so the way they kind of,
at the very least, give us a date or something, so we can kind of keep an idea of what's going on. I think that just leaving that up in the air for people to figure out on their own was a major mistake.
That's fair. I figured it out eventually. It doesn't bother me too much, but I get why people are upset about it.
So the big thing I wanted to bring up is that what's interesting about the fact that The Witcher 3 is doing so well is that the series is actually not based on the game at all.
Nope, it's based on the books.
It's based on the books. And the game...
They said that multiple times, and then immediately had Henry Cavill in the bath as one of the very first pictures, and everyone was like, all right, perfect, let's go.
The game is non-canon. It was not written by the guy who wrote the books. In fact, until very recently, CD Projekt Red and the author of The Witchers were butting heads very heavily. Now, apparently, they have very recently sorted that shit out. So good. And that's one of the reasons why the Netflix show, I think, has been given the full green light, because there was rights issues and who owns what and how much do I get paid for this. There was a whole rigmarole about CD Projekt Red making so much money on The Witcher, and the guy felt like he was being cheated. And Polish law actually lets you file a claim for more money if something's super successful.
Mm-hmm.
If do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that bite. So good to see that's
thing.
What was that?
The weird copyright law thing.
Good to see that that's all been sorted out. And what I have to ask, though, is in light of that, can we consider this a video game adaptation? Because let's be real here.
No, it's not. It's a book adaptation that people are aware of because of a video game, and is retroactively making people more aware of a video game.
But how many people even knew that this is a book series and only thought it was a video game series? And does that even factor in?
Most people assumed it was a video game, but it doesn't actually matter.
Okay.
Not even a little bit.
If this goes on, do you think they'll dip into the video game canon? Because remember, The Witcher game series is a sequel to the books. It takes place 15 years after the last chronological story.
We'll see what happens when they run out of content based on the books.
Or 5 or 10 years or whatever it is. But it is a sequel, quote unquote, because the book series ends rather finally.
Netflix show, I'm assuming it's already greenlit for a season 2.
It absolutely is. In fact, it might even be 3.
That's how Netflix shows kind of work. They just drop it all. They get a bunch of approval ratings, and then they just keep writing it. So
I have to take a look at that now.
This could be the next Game of Thrones, and we're going to get 8 fucking seasons of it. Here's just hoping they don't jump the shark and ruin it halfway through.
I need to see now if it actually has a second season. It's been announced. No third. Because sometimes they greenlight them a lot back to back to back. But it looks like its second season is ready to go.
They're just gonna let it go. That's fine.
So yeah, no, I'm definitely enjoying it. I'd like to see more. I kind of hope that might open the path to other video game adaptations. I don't have
One
any
thing
off the top
that's
of my
funny
head.
to me is that I've noticed that when things are happening of a magical nature of the show, it does this kind of like bottle cap lens filter look, which is straight from the Sabrina show on Netflix, which made me laugh.
I have to look out for it. I don't really know what you're talking about,
Like,
but I have to pay
watch
attention
out
now.
for when there's magic-y, spooky shit going on, and just look at the way the camera focuses, and look at how you lose detail on like minute objects, and how it focuses more on the people present. Because it is definitely a camera trick that I saw and really enjoyed from Sabrina, the whatever they called the remake, Sabrina
The
Chilling
Chilean
Adventures.
Adventures of Serena,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Anytime
Okay.
there's spooky magic going on in that show, they kind of had this same bottle cap. That's the only way I can describe it. Effect for the lens, and The Witcher does it quite a bit, which I enjoy.
Okay. I'll have to keep an eye out for it. Let us
I
know what
just
you
like
think
it as
about
a
the Witcher
weird
series.
magic trick. Everything gets weird except for the people that are there.
Let us know if you've seen the Witcher series, if you think it's good or not. Like I said, my biggest complaint is still that weird chronological narrative the first few episodes do. It pulls a Dunkirk. Have you
Okay.
seen Dunkirk?
Nope, I just know about a ticking clock. That's all I know about
Okay,
that movie.
Dunkirk does something similar where it's like 3 different plots happening, but one is over the course of an hour, one is over the course of a day, and the other is over the course of like a week.
Okay,
But they interweave them all together, and by the end, they all come at one point.
makes sense.
So that's kind of what you're seeing with The Witcher here. David, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. This is kind of, in my opinion, gone a little underreported, but I think it's because this started happening. It's a couple things. One, it's not like it's a really big thing, but I think that if it didn't happen over the holidays, this might have gotten a little bit more play, given how volatile some gamers are about this topic specifically.
Mm-hmm.
This is coming from CNN Business, yet another source I don't think we've ever used. And the headline is, Grand Theft Auto 5 becomes the latest battleground of the Hong Kong protests. Now,
this is kind of incredible to me.
Yeah, this is very interesting. It's not like they're actually fighting each other over it. It's just a cultural thing. But to see
also,
this,
it's remarkably on brand for us to report. So
yeah.
You know who we are, guys. We got to talk about the Hong Kong thing.
By the way, Blizzard still has the bans of Blitzchung and the Hearthstone esportscasters
contractually obligated to mention that Blizzard is still a shit show, and they have not done anything to pull back from their remarkable, just egregious assholeness regarding the entire Hearthstone Hong Kong situation.
Right. And regardless of what it might have sounded like, Jalen Brack actually never did apologize for those actions. He said he's sorry, but he never said he's sorry for what. And if you don't say what you're sorry for, then how do we know what you're actually sorry for? Have to get that out of the way.
And the guys that work there that say, "Oh, the ban shouldn't be happening," you actively have the ability to make the decision to actually remove
you can you can take it away.
You don't get to say that this ban is bad news when you can single-handedly reverse the ban. Come on.
Exactly. So, back to the topic at hand. That's just one of those things that we have to mention every time we talk about this. Going to the article from CNN Business. Popular online video game Grand Theft Auto 5 has become a battleground between protesters in the semi-autonomous Chinese city and the rival players in mainland China. The online duel began after Hong Kong players discovered that their in-game avatars could dress like protesters wearing black clothing, gas masks, and yellow safety helmets. They shared the discovery last week on LIHKG, a social media platform and discussion forum similar to Reddit that's popular in Hong Kong. It didn't take long for Hong Kong gamers to begin mimicking these real-life actions of hardcore protesters by throwing petrol bombs, vandalizing train stations, and attacking police on the open-world GTA. So, you know how you can essentially make a bunch of, like, Mashimas through GTA 5. It's highly moddable. You can record all kinds of stuff. You can essentially make that, like, there's been people who've recreated scenes from the Terminator in this thing.
Yeah, for sure.
That's more or less what they're doing. They're recreating, like, protest scenes using Grand Theft Auto 5.
Okay.
Mainland China, back to the article. Mainland Chinese gamers were quick to notice, and several of them subsequently took to Twitter-like social media platform Weibo to call on the other players to defeat their Hong Kong rivals. So, Grand Theft Auto 5, online game. People join your game, people leave your game, people come in and out all over the place. Players from Hong Kong start talking about start imitating the protests in Hong Kong, dressing up like the protesters. So a bunch of people who live on the mainland of China have been entering their game dressed like cops and riot police.
Hmm.
And now there is like this weird fight, and it's all open. I mean, they could just shut down the servers, and I'm pretty sure you can like block people from coming in, but they're not. They're like the people who are running the servers are letting both sides come in and just fight in Grand Theft Auto. What do you think?
Um, it's kind of amazing that the Hong Kong guys have found another way to express themselves, and just to me, this is more of getting the word out that there's some shenanigans going on over in China, and these guys are trying to talk about it, and they've just found another outlet. Because to me, this isn't the group that's necessarily out there in the streets and actually doing the protest. These are the kids. These are the teenagers. These are the ones that are maybe too young to be out there
Well, I
demonstrating.
wouldn't necessarily discount that because I remember hearing reports something like 70% of all people in Hong Kong were on the streets at one time or another.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that it's all of them or even that I'm right, but this is just what I feel like. This is the youth really striking out on their side. In their language, this is their protest. And I mean, maybe I'm an asshole and this is just some shenanigans going on in Grand Theft Auto, but I'm still entertained that these guys have their way to say it. Um, the mainlanders attacking them is to be expected, I guess.
Yep.
It's just what's going to happen. Um, I kind of wanted to log in Grand Theft Auto just to dress my character up like that and run around. But what are you gonna do? I'm an
One thing
American
I'm
asshole.
actually kind of surprised by is well, hold on, let's think about this because there's no way that the Chinese government would allow that to actually happen in a game that was officially sanctioned. So that means the mainland Chinese gamers popping in to fight the Hong Kong protests in Grand Theft Auto 5 had to be using illegally pirated software.
Yeah, most likely.
Which I mean, it's easy.
Yeah.
Let's not pretend it's not. But they themselves are
Does,
having to get
doesn't
around their
doesn't that
own.
doesn't that say something? They have to break the law in order
Yes.
to fight for the side of the guys that actually put the law in place that makes it so they can't play a video game.
Yeah, that's kind of the point that I'm getting at here.
Yeah, that's a little whack.
Anyways, I this was just one of those stories. Like I said, if it wasn't over the holiday, I think more eyes would have gotten on. It's by no means a big thing. I mean, it's essentially a
It's
slap fight in Grand Theft Auto 5,
it's interesting.
but it is adjacent to
It's
a
something that we've
big fucking
never
thing that's actually happening.
yeah, it's something we've never seen before. We've never seen like real life shit to this scale actually go over into the digital. And not that I can think of.
I could think of like some like culture stuff, like left versus right, the weird stupid culture war, but this is actually like no, we are. I've not
Yeah.
seen like a protest go into like it's that same thing that makes me want to report on like Eve Online every now and then.
Yeah.
It's
It's
that
just as
life
vast.
imitating art or art imitating life kind of thing that I just find fascinating. So the article will be linked down below, of course. So be sure to go take a look at it and read up on it. But it's one of those things that
Man, I wish I could be in one of those epic Eve articles.
no, I don't.
I should have stayed in it.
I love reading about Eve. I love catching up on Eve. I do not love playing Eve.
I'm just saying, my old character, if I'd stayed online, if I kept that guy learning experience points, he'd be in command ship by now.
And this is just one of those things, though, where real life crosses into video games, like you were saying. It's just fascinating, especially
Yeah.
given that there are a few things that we latch onto here at GamePoints that I would say a lot of mainstream sites don't. Things
Yeah.
I can think of off the top of my head, for example, the whole Alex Mauer thing with Star Mazer, the Brad Wardell Toys for Bob guys, and
Microtransactions.
everyone brags on microtransactions. I can't say that, but one of those things that we are really focused on is the Hong Kong related to video game things. So I just saw this and immediately knew I had to talk about it real quick. But it's not that big. Take a look at it on your own. I'm kind of rambling at this point. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic because I think I've said everything I wanted to. It's really not that big of a story. It's just highly interesting. I suggest you all take it out. We have a
All right.
couple. Go ahead.
So the next story is actually going to be from IGN
Yeah.
themselves, and this time they're reporting on something that's not related to games as it's related to themselves,
Yep.
and they are changing their review scale. This to me is I'll get into it and then we'll talk about it. But essentially, IGN is going to change their scale from a 100-point scale because they've always had the decimals. So it's
Yeah.
like this game's not a 10, it's a 9.7. This game's not a 6, it's a 6.4. They've used that system this whole time, so we can essentially just call it a 100-point scale. They're switching it to just a solid 1 through 10 scale. And they have examples. So 10 would be considered a masterpiece, basically a perfect game that most people would love. 9's amazing, 8's great, 7's good, 6 is okay, 5 is mediocre, 4 is bad, 3 is awful, 2 is painful, and 1 is unbearable.
So, David, I happen to know that the reviews editor by a guy by the name of Dan Stapleton has been trying to change the 100-point scale his entire tenure there, which is like, I want to say 7 years at this point.
Yep.
Because what is fundamentally the difference between an 8.6 and an 8.7?
Nothing.
No.
It's completely arbitrary.
And I mentioned this during my short time there, even though I was just some freelance guy. So what the fuck did they care about my thought?
The problem I have is that this isn't even enough, and I'm sure we can get into it because we don't do review scores here.
No.
We just give you you should play this, you should wait for a sale, you shouldn't play this. That's our entire fucking review score.
Yes.
And to me, the argument of what's the difference between an 8.6 and an 9.7 is the same as the argument between what's the difference between a 6 and a 7.
Yep.
What's the difference between a 4 and a 5? Because if you attribute a number to it, everybody that at least went to school in America is going to be like, okay, so anything that's below an 8 is just a bad video game.
Right.
Because that's a B. And anything worse than a B isn't worth your time. And there's games that I fucking love that'll actually be in the 5s and 6s because they're niche titles. They're titles that are not for everybody. They're games that maybe specific people like that they really enjoy. I would say the average Dynasty Warriors game, for example, is a 6. It's outrageously repetitive. It's the same fucking storyline over and over. It's mostly the same characters.
But once every 3 years, you got to play it.
They're just dumb, mindless fun. But if you go just based off review scores, all of those games suck and no one should ever play them.
Which, that kind of surrounds more or less what I want to bring up is the fact that everyone has this idea of like, your review score goes like this. It's either a 10, a 9, an 8, or it sucks.
Yep.
And we all like to blame IGN and stuff for that, but it's not IGN's fault. It's ours.
Yeah.
Because of exactly what you said.
It's kind of what we expect. And now the biggest problem I have with it is that a lot of review scores feed directly into Metacritic scores. A lot of people will look at Metacritic and talk about it, and it's like this whole big deal. And the thing that bothers me the most is that there's companies that have incentive-based programs based on Metacritic review scores. So if you have a company that does game reviews and you decide that this game is not quite worth an 8, and so we're going to give it a 7 or a 7.7 or a whatever the fuck, then there's a shit ton of people that don't get a bonus. And they don't get to buy their Christmas turkey because of an arbitrary fucking number that you decided on based on, well, I didn't like the camera and I didn't like this one level where I had kind of a weird janky graphics thing. And so I'm docking it this many points.
It is a tangible, real-world incentive that is 100% influenced by an arbitrary system.
It's very weird.
So, for example, if you were to look at The Guardian uses a 5-star system. You see a game get 3 out of 5 stars. That's solid, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's a fucking 60 on Metacritic.
Okay. That's the way the numbers break down.
Yeah. I have always hated review scores because of shit like that. And when it came to IGN's 100-point scale, I always saw that as a way to manipulate their viewing on Metacritic. I have nothing to base that off of, but there's a reason why they kept it so long, and honestly, I do think it was because they had some bit of data somewhere that shows if the average game gets like an 8.5, but they give it an 8.6, more people clicked on it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Because something about how it ranks stuff, and here, do you want to be tied in with all these 8.5s, or do you want to be just a bit higher at 8.6? I always felt that it was designed to manipulate Metacritic search results.
But who knows? They could be doing whatever they want, and good for them for switching from a 100-point scale. If you really want to click on the link, we'll have it down below, obviously, and they give examples of what they consider to be 10s and what they consider to be 9s and 8s and 7s and blah, 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 blah. Um, but again, all fucking reviews are subjective, and what other people think about video games literally does not matter. If you
Yeah.
like a game, you like the game. If
One of
you
my
don't
favorite
like a
series of
game,
all time
you
is the
don't like
fucking
a game.
Disaster Report series, and that is actually objectively a bad game.
I fucking love Armored Core,
Also
and
objectively a bad game.
I fucking always have. I can go grab my box of my PS1 games and bring out Project Phantasma right now, and I played the shit out of that video game. And that game, according to reviews, has no redeeming qualities. I don't care. I thought it was fun.
That is not to
So
say don't read reviews, because you can gain important
you can get
information from it.
you can get an idea of the way the game plays. You can get an idea of if it's the kind of game for you. But I just don't put that much weight into numbers.
The number at the end is pointless. What you should do is read the review and watch people play it on Twitch. Like you can do right here at twitch.tv/GamePoints every Tuesday through Thursday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time.
Except for Nintendo games, because those motherfuckers will give you a copyright strike before you could finish typing the name of the stream.
No. You can stream Nintendo games just fine, actually, now.
Oh, can you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. We just can't post those ones on YouTube or
No.
talk about them or post publicly available facing
YouTube
trailers.
specifically is squirrely about it, but Twitch
Wretched
is fine.
hive of scum and villainy.
It is. David, we have a couple of real quick hits to finish up the news of the week. First off, the studio that made Amnesia and SOMA and all those scary ass horror games is teasing something. To go click on the list down there. It's called, the link down there. It says newfractalgame.com. They have a new game coming. Frictionalgame.com.
I don't recommend clicking on it because that website is fucking worthless. I was like, dude, what's this thing that I'm supposed to click on so we can talk about it in news? And it's literally just like a blinking ear. A jelly bean. I don't know what the fuck that is.
The point is,
gives you absolutely no information. They could have just said, we have a new project.
Yes.
This could have been a tweet, guys. Fuck you.
Absolutely. The point is something is coming. We just don't know what yet. They are fantastic horror games.
For a cover for a but they do make good shit. So I guess I can't be too mad about it.
And then finally, David, do you know who BluePoint is?
Yes, I know who BluePoint is. Let's just get this shit over with because people are too fucking stupid.
BluePoint is teasing something. They released something around Christmas and kind of a night before Christmas style pro saying they have something to be announced soon. Now, the internet took this and
I don't even think they're necessarily fucking announcing anything. They could have just been like, let's do some weird ass shit because it's Christmas. Because guess what? It is now 11 days post Christmas and they haven't said shit.
Let's explain why you're upset, and I know why.
It's just because people are stupid. That's
BluePoint is known for their remasters. They remastered Shadow of the Colossus, they remastered God of War and Uncharted, they've remastered a whole bunch of specifically PlayStation stuff, and they're really good at it too.
That's true. They've done a great job. I like BluePoint.
BluePoint tweeted out the following recently. I think it was on the 24th. It was the night before, an excitement mounts, and stealthily wrapped boxes, creatures stirred for announce. Hope for adventure, victory spread, visions of heroes enhanced in their heads. We sprang forth to play, exclaimed at the sight, happy gaming to all, there'll be no sleep tonight. Now this, along with a few other things that they have been saying, makes people think that there is going to be an announcement of something soon. The internet, of course, being the internet, will take any bit of rumor that they hope to be true and run with it as its gospel. And that rumor that people are hoping to be true is that for the longest time, it has been rumored that BluePoint is working on a remaster of Demon's Souls.
This isn't fucking news, people. It's a goddamn tweet of a cat chasing a hat on its head.
BluePoint is not doing any favors.
Just stop it.
By teasing this. And they don't just tease Demon's Souls. They tease all kinds of shit.
There's also a whole other group of gamers that believe that this is a Legend of Dragoon remaster.
Yeah.
Which, I'm not going to lie, I would rather see. Because that's from a longer time ago.
Agreed. And that just shows you...
If you're gonna bring me a game back, bring me an old-ass fucking game back. But it doesn't matter what they're teasing. Because this is
We don't know. We don't know. This is someone tweeted something and people are freaking the fuck out of it. So this falls into that...
This could have been an intern making up a poem and posting a weird gif of a cat.
Now, I don't think that's the case. I think BluePoint knows what they're doing.
And I
But
think what they're doing is pissing me off. I
you
should
have to
probably
look at
drink
the
less
internet and go,
bourbon.
you guys need to calm the fuck down because we don't know what the hell BluePoint's doing. And it doesn't help that it is a known secret that they're working what they're working on. We don't know what it is publicly, but a lot of journalists know exactly what it is, and they're fucking jerking it off too.
Dude, let's fucking call Jason Schreier up.
He
See
knows.
what he says.
I believe he has openly said, yes, I know what they are working on. No, I'm not going to tell you.
Let's call him. Let's find his phone number. I don't know where his phone number
is. You go to the ESA website.
Oh, goddamn.
Look it up there.
Burn. That actually list is probably still available. I could probably call Jason if I really, really wanted to, but I don't think he would be too happy to hear from me. I'm pretty sure he just had a kid.
The point is, keep your fucking expectation in check. Now, I honestly think it is Demon's Souls remake or remaster. Not remake, remaster. But guys, keep your fucking expectations in check. Stop saying something is when we don't have confirmation, because this industry...
Here's the problem, is that investment runs on hype.
Yes.
And when you guys see a tweet like this, and you go all fucking gangbusters banana for, oh my god, BluePoint is doing X, Y, or Z, then their investors can be like, oh my god, BluePoint is doing X, Y, or Z. Please dump all of your money into here. And then there's this crazy ass hype train, and then it ends with a bunch of people losing a bunch of money because maybe it's not the thing you wanted, or the thing you wanted, but not the way you wanted it. And whatever the fuck else happens that makes your panties go in a twist. And we don't need to do that. We don't have to be this crazy hype media machine for these companies. You can just be a person that's excited about video games that says, sweet, BluePoint's working on something good. They have a pretty damn good track record. I'm excited to see what it is.
Tamper your expectations and understand that this is an industry that openly fucking lies to you daily.
And if at any point you think that we aren't telling the truth, just look at a game that came out this year that was called Anthem. Because that shit was hyped all to hell.
Yep.
We even got caught up in it a little bit.
Hey.
I was like, this game seems like it's fun. And then it turns out that it had no content.
Anthem, one of the 10 top selling games of 2019.
Yeah, that happened.
David, that wraps it up for news. Let's go ahead and move on to a couple things to watch for this week. First of all, is AGDQ, Awesome Games Done Quick, is running this week. It started Sunday night.
Highly recommend, if you've never taken a look at Awesome Games Done Quick, please, please, please take a look at them. Even if you don't like speedruns, even if you don't like any percents and glitchless or glitched filled or whatever the hell different kinds of runs they have, they are for an awesome cause. They take donations. They're actually working on building a big fund to battle cancer, and they are just a cool damn thing. I think they're actively doing a speedrun of Doom 2016 right this very second, so don't tune in yet, but maybe after our show, go take a look, because they'll be on the back half of that run, and it should be pretty fun.
Good to see, by the way, Captain Ice Cold.
You can also find their schedule available online. If you are watching this later on YouTube, all the VODs will be up on YouTube as well. I love, love, love Awesome Games Done Quick. I always like finding my favorite games and checking it out. I especially love Super Metroid runs. Some of the RPG runs are pretty interesting, even though they take like 9 hours, which is hilarious. And then you have ridiculous shit like people that beat Dark Souls in 14 minutes.
Speaking of which, last night I did see someone beat Real Mist, in 45 seconds.
Amazing.
Because it's not that amazing because it's a really stupid glitch, but you can be done. But still seeing it makes me go, huh.
I mean, dude,
how did that get passed by? And he doesn't even really break anything either.
There's the classic Oblivion move of, guess what? You actually can use that one dude's potion and then just drop your head onto the final boss and kill him. Like, it's great. I love this shit, because the people that find these tweaks and breaks and things spend so much time that they have almost a deeper love for gaming than I do, in that they find a game and latch onto it, and this becomes who they are. They find the ways to get around it, to break it, and this is how they have fun. And I get that speedrunning is not for everybody. I get that it's not necessarily your forte, or you don't like it, or you think it's breaking the game or whatever, but it's for a good cause. So please just take a look.
Right. And it doesn't cost you anything to look. Also going on this week, before we move on to the new release, CES is happening. That's the Consumer Electronics Show. Now, a couple things
I wish I was there right now.
A couple things I want to mention out the gate. One, this is not E3.
Hell no. CES has nothing to do with video gaming. Video games just happen to be there
Correct.
sometimes.
There were two bits of information that has come out from CSRD. First, turns out to be completely fake. We thought we saw the back of the Xbox Series X. No,
Dude,
it was
that
fake.
is the funniest shit because AMD used an online rendering of the Xbox Series X, which is still a dumbass fucking name. Congratulations, Xbox, for making the Xbox X. And they literally grabbed a rendering online and posted it in their video. And it has nothing to do with the actual Xbox. Microsoft said, hey, by the way, that's not what our new system looks like. So sorry.
And you
So
know
that,
someone at AMD is getting their asses handed to them right now because that is
hell
a
yeah, they are.
major mistake. Because
It is.
that could actually affect sales because someone looks at that and goes, oh, this is all it has? Fuck that. I'm not getting that anymore.
I doubt it. I don't think that necessarily is true. But it is.
They can
It
argue
is a
that. What I'm
faux
saying is
pas.
that they can't argue that it's bad. It is bad that happened. It's bigger than people think that that mistake happened.
Yep.
Also,
Man, I wish I was in Vegas right now.
I'm good on the CES show, but we did get a little bit more information on the PlayStation 5. We have their logo shown.
It's a
And that's
PS
it.
logo that you're normally used to, and it also has a 5.
You know what
Summed up
annoys
for
me
you.
about this specifically, David, is that every fucking game site is going to be talking about this tomorrow because there is no news and everyone is fucking hungry for anything about the new consoles.
Man, if only people weren't so desperate that they had to talk about such stupid shit like the PS5 logo. Anyway, back to our coverage of the PlayStation 5 logo and how it's so different than the PS4 logo. If you see now, it actually has a 5 instead
Yeah,
of a
it's
4.
one higher.
Yeah, that means it's one better.
And that's really all we're going to get from the next generation consoles. But if you're into tech,
And which I absolutely am, which is why I want. I don't
yeah,
give a shit about video games at CS. I want to go there to see all the new audio stuff. I want to go see new
new
speakers.
TVs, new
I want to
phones,
see
new drones.
I want to see new automation. Dude, there's a new 360 camera drone that has basically a spike that sticks out of the top and bottom. So it can take a perfect 360 video while the drone is flying around without interrupting the video.
And you
Like
can
it'll
just
stay
murder
fixed.
someone with it too.
It'll stay fixed on a target. I mean, I'm sure that's where it came from.
Complete side tangent, by the way. I played around with the drone over the summer, like about 6 months ago. I really
Drones are
want one
great.
of them now. I really
Drones are
want one of
cool.
those fucking things. I never knew how they operated until then. I was like, son of a bitch.
Yeah, the more expensive you get, the easier it is to fly.
Yeah, I did notice that because this was a very
Because you
high
can
end one.
basically tell it like, I need you to go here, and then it'll just go there. The one I want is the one that actually has like a Bluetooth receiver that you can put on your person, and it'll follow you around and take video.
Yeah, the one that I was playing around with had that thing. It knows where it launched, so you can press a button and it goes exactly back there. If its battery's about to die, it's smart enough to go, okay, I need to get back to my home point before I crash.
Yeah, that's really cool.
They're really interesting. David,
Yes.
it is going to be at least another year before I get a drone, though.
I'm sure.
I'm going to be bored as hell between now and then. So, as I wait for that drone money to come in, what can I
Classic
play
drone
before
money.
then?
There is actually only one video game to play this week, and luckily enough for you, it is the most important video game coming out for at least a couple of weeks.
At least a couple of weeks. We are
Because
y-
we are
we are
gearing up
nigh.
for a holiday too. And we've made this joke before, and that the holidays were always like the biggest season for video games. And there's so many people that said, you know what, the holidays are too fucking crowded. We're gonna push into Q4, late Q4, February, March. That's our window. And now everything's coming out February, March.
Yeah.
But if you're lucky enough and you have a PC, you can finally play Monster Hunter Iceborne this Thursday in just 3 short days after this here stream right here. You can be playing Monster Hunter Iceborne on PC. And I know it's been out on PS4 and Xbox and blah, blah, blah for however long. I don't give a shit. I ain't buying this game twice. I've been waiting this whole time. I'm spoiler free. I swear, if you like try and tweet me some spoilers about Iceborne, I will find you and I will write you an angry letter. I'll be very upset about it. I'm quite excited to play Iceborne.
Or what, David?
This is
Or
all
what?
I'm doing starting Thursday.
I'll probably be playing this on stream as well, at least for a little bit. I've been waiting for it to come out on PC too, because when you compare the consoles to the PC versions of Monster Hunter Iceborne, I'm not trying to put on my like PC elitist hat on here, but it really is radically a better experience on PC.
If you just want to see the story of Iceborne streamed, then you should probably check out Steven. If anyone has any interest on what like high level proper Monster Hunter content looks like, let me know in the comments and I'll stream it too, because I've played that game since 2006 when the first one came out, and we go hard.
Yeah. Captain Ice Cold does say that we really are living in the future because it's 2020. I'm going to do some math for you here real quick, David. That's going to make you feel real old.
Okay, you can't make me feel older than I did recently, so go for it.
Okay, remember 1990?
Yes.
Okay. We are now just as far from 1990 as we are 2050.
Yep.
Was that it?
That's already happened to me. I'm aware.
So yeah, there's that.
Because here's the thing.
Actually, technically, as of now, we're closer to 2050 than we were in 1990.
All of the cool future shit that I loved already happened. Like Back to the Future 2 already happened. Transformers landing on Earth already fucking happened. Like all of the cool shit from my childhood that was futuristic. Dude, the Running Man already happened.
Yeah, I mean, we have the digital version of the Running Man with fucking Battle Royale games for the most part. Are you talking about like what we see in them, or like just the years that was going on? Because Blade Runners happened if we're just basing on the year. Because Blade Runner happened in 2019.
Yeah, I'm saying like the Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger. That movie takes place in 2019.
Think about. So I'm going to go a little bit different. Take from that. Think about the shit they had in those movies that was cut of the line future stuff. So you have like your, you know how everyone has like their credit shits, right? Rather than using straight cash. We've had that shit for like 25 years. It's called a debit card.
Yeah.
We have the collective knowledge of all of mankind in our pocket.
And we use it to look at pictures of cats.
The future is already fucking here.
The future is definitely here. It just turns out that we are way stupider than the past gave us credit for. Yes. So we all latched on to dumb entertainment shit, which honestly is pretty good. I think we're in a pretty good time. I mean, I know that there's a lot of bad shit going on in the world, but as far as entertainment media is concerned, man, that Disney Plus, that's a good investment.
I'm going to
I can't even get through that. I don't have no fucking.
I'm going to wrap this topic up with a statement that will always infuriate some people, and I don't know why. Right now, you are living in the best time ever for humanity.
I mean, the chances of you just getting hung up at the stake or some shit, or like a king deciding that your wife is too hot and just taking her, real low.
Yep. Poverty is lower than it ever has been historically. Disease is lower than it ever has been historically.
I mean, unless you ask the anti-vaxxers.
Longevity is access to healthcare is all better than it has ever been historically, and it improves almost every year. And people hate hearing that. But that's not necessarily because we're at where we want to be, but because it was so fucking bad previously. Captain Ice Cold in chat says it's best. Not having polio, pretty fucking good. And that was only 50 years ago.
Yeah, sure, dude.
So,
if only we could keep not having polio. That would be swell. Anyway, back to topics. You guys should play Monster Hunter, please, because I fucking love that video game, and I think that Capcom needs to make more of them, and I need you to support it so that I can play more Monster Hunter. I just have to throw that out there.
Before we wrap up, because remember, we were talking about how we are nigh on the silly season. We got about 2 weeks before shit gets real. Let me list to you the big games coming out in the next 3 months. 4 months. We'll say 4 months.
You're literally taking my job from me. The only thing I have to look forward to is talking about new releases, and you're just taking it from me.
You get to mention these as they come out. This is a quick lightning round of it, though. So, we have Iceborne this week.
It's insane.
In January, you also have Yakuza Like a Dragon, Tokyo Mirage Sessions on the Switch, Oddworld Stranger's Wrath High Definition on the Switch, Warcraft 3 Reforged. Going to February, Yakuza 5 Remastered, Darksiders Genesis, Dreams is finally coming out, Street Fighter 5 Championship Edition, the Bayonetta Vanquish 10th Anniversary Collection, the Devil May Cry 3 on Switch, not so much, Persona 5 Scramble, Mega Man Zero and ZX Legacy Collection announced recently for the Switch. I'm going to have to pick that up as well. Iron Man VR, because I forgot about that Iron Man VR game. In March, Final Fantasy VII, Langrisser 1 and 2, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Neo 2, the new Animal Crossing game, Doom Eternal, Persona 5 Royale, Half-Life Alyx, and all that is quickly followed up 2 weeks after that with both Resident Evil 3 and fucking Cyberpunk 2077.
Oh. The problem
is that 3 months of games, not counting the smaller shit.
Now, here's the fun part, is that for me, I heard you say 3 games. Monster Hunter, Resident Evil, Cyberpunk. And I know that other people are going to play a lot of those other games, but to me, they can all fuck off because I have very limited amount of money, and all of my video game money is going to be spent by March.
Yeah, I mean, by the time
I have
it's bad.
3 games
It's
that I'm
bad.
gonna be playing this year. Just so you guys know that when we get to December, we're talking about the games we played over this last year. You can know exactly that my list will be Monster Hunter, RE3,
Those 3 games.
Cyberpunk.
No Half-Life Alyx?
I buy 3 games a year, bro. That's it. And last I checked, I still don't have a VR headset. So, what are you gonna do?
Not yet. Guys, thank you all for showing up. It's good to be back over the past couple weeks. We are going to be resuming normal streams and normal episodes of GamePoints and everything like that from this point on again. So thank you all for showing up. This has been GamePoints episode 203. Thank you for showing up. If you want to join us live, you can do so every Monday at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time right here at twitch.tv/GamePoints. But if you can't join us live, you can do so over at youtube.com/GamePointsPC. Regardless of where you're at, feel free to join the conversation with any questions, comments, concerns, topics, etc. Just try to keep it germane to the conversation. If you like what you see here and you want to support the channel, you can do so in the following ways. You can follow and turn on notifications so you know go live. You can like, subscribe with that free Twitch or Prime, Amazon, whatever.
Make
or
sure
cash.
you spend that Jeff Bezos money.
You can use bits as well. I will be back tomorrow around 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time here at this same Twitch channel for regular game streaming. Not sure what we're going to be playing just yet. Maybe some Monster Hunter as we warm up for Iceborne. We'll see. Once again, though, thank you all for showing up. I absolutely appreciate it, whether you active or lurking, and I will see you all next time. And yes, I did not do Twitter sign-offs. You can see them on the screen.
Oh, yeah. You can hit me up on Twitter if you want to play Monster Hunter this week.
Y'all have a good one.
Bye.